Foreign direct investments have over the years played a key role in stimulating economic activities in Nigeria, even as perception and the information have remained key concerns of investors. In her contribution to affirming Nigeria as a key investment hub in Africa, seasoned investment banker and CEO of Emerging Africa Capital, Mrs. Toyin Sanni today launched the book Riding the Eagle, A Guide to Investing in Nigeria at the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Giving the welcome address, the CEO of Nigerian Stock Exchange, Mr. Oscar Onyema, commended the author for the book, which would serve as a useful resource for those seeking to make impactful investments in Nigeria.
It is a known fact that Nigeria remains an attractive investment destination in Africa. The book, Riding the Eagle, is therefore a welcome narrative to the efforts of the government, regulators, and organized private sector to attract investments to the country that will help accelerate its growth ambitions. There are many important reasons to read this book. Allow me to share a few. The book engages its readers in the simplest way to provide robust investment information. The coverage of various sectors for investment, particularly those that require more investors, such as refining, agriculture, power, healthcare, etc., is very key to any discerning investor. The book guides investors on methods to navigate the various challenges that impact investments, which can vary from insurgency, insecurity, riot, and even new government policies. Most intriguing, perhaps, is the success and failure stories of investors who have faced the challenges of investment despite risk and uncertainties. Distinguished guests, you will agree with me that Mrs. Toyin Sanni deserves a resounding applaud on the successful writing and publishing of this book.
Acting Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Ms. Mary Uduk, in her remarks, said the book provided comprehensive information on investing in Nigeria and also captured the challenges faced by each sector.
In stimulating investment, it is important that relevant players like us at the SEC and hosts the NSA and Emerging Africa Capital, as well as other progressive stakeholders, should provide investors with accurate, authoritative, and independent information to help them make objective capital allocation. During the decision-making process, investors want to be sure of the rational basis of their investment decisions before offering or transferring resources, and this is why quality information is needed. Providing information to investors will enhance transparency in the Nigerian market and improve our global reputation in the investment community. Riding the Eagle meets this imperative by providing comprehensive and up-to-date information on investing in the Nigerian market via a roadmap and guide for foreign, domestic, institutional, and individual investors alike. It also examines the challenges faced by the Nigerian economy across sectors, past and recent success stories, and solutions to some of the nation's economic and development challenges. This book will not only support her work with the market as chairperson of the CMC Financial Literacy Committee, it would also help investors navigate the business and investment landscape in Nigeria and learn the hard lessons learned by other organizations the easy way. By committing to the discipline of this work, she has set a good example for the other very experienced and knowledgeable professionals that I see around this room.
The Senior Special Assistant to the President on Industries, Trade and Investments in the Office of the Vice President, Mrs. Jumoke Oduwole, also joined in congratulating Mrs. Sanni on her book and her efforts in encouraging the ease of doing business reforms in the country.
Ease of doing business is pivotal to economic development. There's a strong correlation between GDP and the business environment. So that's really the reason why we're all here. That's the reason why the book was written. Mrs. Sanni has been an avid supporter of the initiative for a number of years now. She's a regular attendee of the Presidential Quarterly Business Forum, where we share ideas with private sector. And so she's followed the journey. So I'd really like to start off by commending you for taking the courage to embrace this big eagle. It's a lion, it's a Herculean task, really, trying to go to every sector, trying to be balanced, trying to speak to potential investors and indeed domestic investors and why they should believe and continue to believe in the Nigerian business case. So thank you for that. This year for Nigeria is what we make of it. If we act like it's a done deal, like if nothing is going to happen this year, it's going to be a lame duck session, that is exactly how everybody else will react to the Nigerian economy. But if we take the bull by the horns, elections should be over basically in about 4 weeks, and we start the year and we do what we need to do. I am confident that we're going to have an exceptional 2019 with the hard work it takes and the reforms that we are committed to helping you have an enabling environment in which you can thrive.
Chairperson of the event and Executive Vice Chairman, Famfa Oil, Mrs. Folorunsho Alakija, believed the book was appropriate and timely for the Nigerian investment climate and a must-read for all entrepreneurs.
This is truly a most appropriate and timely information guide for all stakeholders in the investment sector in Africa's most populous and resource-rich country, our country, my country, Nigeria. I commend Mrs. Toyin Sanni and her team at the Emerging Africa Limited for the extensive work that they have done in putting this book together. And I therefore encourage all and sundry who are looking for where to invest in Africa to look no further, but to get a copy of the book, this book. Riding the Eagle as a searchlight into Africa and Africa's own last frontier of opportunities in Nigeria. I'd like to borrow a leaf from Amex. Amex usually says, this is the card. The card that you must not leave at home. Don't leave home without it. Don't live here without this book. I think that it should be in every school, every secondary school in Nigeria, because we have to catch them young. I think that no businessman or businesswoman should be without this book. You must send copies to the presidency, of course, because our government must be aware of the existence of this book. This book must be on every platform where you can order online, starting with our own homegrown Jumai and international Amazon and the works all over the world. Make sure that they are there so that distance is not a barrier, so that everyone can own a copy. Every entrepreneur and every entrepreneur to be should own a copy of this book.
Highlights of the event was the formal unveiling and launch of the book.
E
A G L
E.
Riding the Eagle. Can we lift
There
up
you
our
have
books? Can we lift up our books?
Riding the Eagle.
Riding the Eagle.
Mrs. Folorunsho Alakija and Mr. Emmanuel Unorom, Group CEO, Hares Holdings, speak further on the book launch and investing in Nigeria.
The information in there is for not just foreign investors, it's for the government itself to know how to position Nigeria's development economy, and also for private investors in Nigeria, and for investors all over the world, and even in Africa, from other African countries. It's for entrepreneurs, it's for It's for everybody that's in the banking sector, everybody that's in any kind of business, anybody who wants to invest in anything in Nigeria. Because we know that Nigeria is blessed with so many natural resources. We have a very young and growing population where our urbanization is trending. And there's so much that's even already packed in that book. Information that you cannot get at your fingertips, but inside that book, it's fully loaded. And it will open the eyes of any investor into anything that's available in Nigeria.
It's a very good book, and Toyin Sanni, we know very well, is an author that is always interested on things relating to the capital markets. We believe that reading this book and applying the principles will enable one to make very good investments.
For Mrs. Toyin Sanni, it is about providing a strategic guide for any investor or stakeholder in the Nigerian economy.
So this book is my demonstration of my commitment to Nigeria as a country and as an investment destination. It's also being written with the benefit of over 30 years helping and guiding investors in this market, 10 years in the money market, 20 years in the capital markets. It is a book that is intended to showcase the multiple opportunities that exist in Nigeria for investment and to also steer investors through what you might call the minefields. And so it talks about the opportunities, but it also talks about the challenges. It talks about the key players, and it talks about the role of these key players. It talks about those who have invested in Nigeria successfully and why they succeeded, those who have invested in Nigeria and had not so good stories and reasons why we think that they had, or why I think that they didn't have such good success. And so I think it will be very beneficial to both domestic and international investors, both individuals and corporate investors. And of course, today we also launched, our company Emerging Africa Capital also launched our Outlook report for 2019. And I recommend both materials for all investors.
Despite its socio-economic challenges, Nigeria remains a compelling investment case with a young, vibrant population and abundant natural resources. What is vital is reliable information for investors, which books like Riding the Eagle has come to address.